As a patient, tell me from your perspective what you think are some of the most important things that we should touch on.
Well, I think patients need to learn to be their own advocate. Nobody chooses to have MS. Oh, I want to be in the MS house, right? Nobody chooses that. But if that's the situation, the hand that life has dealt you, then you need to get busy with finding out how to get control of it. I think that a lot of times what happens with patients who are newly diagnosed is that the diagnosis is so overwhelming and so stunning to them that they sometimes immediately toggle over to Richard Pryor or Annette Funicello. They immediately think of themselves in a wheelchair. I'm 17 years in. I can still swim. I can still scuba dive. I don't walk so great, but I've chosen the activities that make me feel good. So for example, some people like yoga, and yoga is a really good exercise for a lot of people with MS. For me, it's not a good exercise because it confronts me with what I can't do. It confronts me with balance problems and strength problems. But the pool's my happy place. I love the pool, and I think it's psychologically really important.
Aquatic activity and
to
exercise.
give yourself positive messages. So let's say you opt for disease-modifying therapy. Well, the disease-modifying therapies, maybe they cut your relapse rate by 30% or 40% or 50%. So you've already bought yourself a big slice back of your life when you start on a DMT. Some people choose not to do that. I personally take that. Well, if you add exercise, what if you add exercise and it makes you feel 8% better? What if it makes you feel 12% better? What if you change your diet and you buy 10 or 15% of an increase in your health? Suddenly, instead of looking 100% overwhelmed by it, you're up in the 70% of what you were. So figuring out what diet works for you, what exercise works for you, and hopefully rolling in a meditation component to bring your stress down, all of those things are, I cannot tell you how important they are in terms of your disease management, and there are a lot of people out there who are keen to help you with that, and you need to find out who they are. If your physical therapist is not addressing your needs, move on. You need to keep trying. I would have thought the diet was going to be the big challenge for me because we all like to eat what we like to eat. But once I moved in my head from thinking of diet as a restriction to diet as an opportunity to have a positive impact on my well-being, it completely changed my internal conversation. I think when you have MS, getting your head in the game is so important. I think depression is such a huge issue. Depression, grief, loss of function, all these things are, and then if you start doing things that cut into that and make it better, it gives you a sense of control that MS in many cases takes away. I think that's different for each person, and so each person has to either work with a nutritionist or work with a PT to kind of find out what those things are that help them. I'll give you an example. When my PT told me about interval training, it was a light bulb moment for me because I was a type A person who thought if I didn't pound out 30 laps in the pool all at once, it didn't count.
Right.
She said, no, if you stand down at 10 laps and rest for 60 to 90 seconds and then pick up with another 10 laps so that you hit your 30, the research indicates that you have still gotten the benefits of
In less time.
of that exercise, but you've been able to accomplish it. So you don't want to feel bad because you didn't just hit the straight 30.
Right.
But she said if you rest all the way down, you're going to have a problem percolating back up. Who knew? I didn't know that. I
Right.
had to see a neuro PT in order for that information to get transmitted to me. So I would say if your doctor is not talking about diet, if your doctor is not talking about lifestyle modification, if your doctor's hostile to those things, I think you need to step on to a new doctor that embraces the fact that lifestyle modifications are now a huge element in dealing with MS.
Complementary, adjunctive therapies.
I've done acupuncture, I love massages because I think it calms down my central nervous
It does.
system. Yeah, acupuncture, I did it for quite a while and I didn't see the results from it that I wanted. And I would also add, for example, I follow the Overcoming MS diet, which is basically a low saturated fat diet with fish. and no processed foods. Certain oils are ruled out. That's easy for me to follow, again, because I see it as an opportunity for wellness. Some people will follow a diet that's more like a Mediterranean diet, and other people follow, progressively more strict diets. Don't jump in on maybe you can jump in on that and stick to it, but you know what diet works? The one you stick to.
Yes.
And if you find that the diet is too problematic for you and is giving you
More stress.
more stress, thank you, more stress, more defeat kind of messages, then ease off. Then just start something slow. Start by trying to eliminate gluten and see if that has a trigger for you. I am a very late convert to the no dairy thing. I grew up in Minnesota. This girl knows how to eat dairy. And I'm like, oh, phooey, dairy. But then I did eliminate it, and I eliminated it for about 4 months. And did I notice a difference? Hard to say. I had ice cream. You know what happened?
What?
My whole face went numb.
Oh my goodness.
And I thought, okay, maybe there's something to this dairy thing.
Yeah.
So then I stopped again for a while, and another couple months, and you know what? I had some pizza. Put me in bed for 2 days.
Oh my goodness.
But is that research backed up? I don't know. Is it an
That's you, and we're all different.
Right, it's anecdotal for me. And so for me, that gave me a sense of control. And now when I see friends of mine who are still eating certain things that I believe are damaging, it's all I can do to not just
Counsel.
I know, but everybody's on their journey, and they really have to get to that point themselves. But I think what we're seeing is that there's more and more research starting to back up that lifestyle modification is what helps you when you
That's
have
right.
MS.